Hello everybody, I'm Tactical Allie, and this is going to be my first episode of Guns and Gear Galore, which is going to be the show where I review new guns and gear, where I show off mine, and where we just do some really cool fun stuff. For this episode, I was going to show you my primary rifle, which is Leonidas, and my pistol. So my pistol is actually just a normal KWA M9. It actually had 3 owners before me, and it's been the pistol I've used ever since my very first airsoft game back on my birthday. On my birthday back in 2014 anyway. It was a gift from my friend Ruben, who's one of the guys who brought me into airsoft. And I've actually thought about buying another one. Either another one of the same kind or another kind of airsoft pistol, but I never end up doing it, and this one works just fine. It's very trusty, and I don't have any problems with it, so I've just kind of kept it forever, I guess. Hopefully it lasts a couple more years, and I won't have to get a new one for a while. I use it with a standard mag, and then I use it with an extended mag, and I got it this really pretty pink camo case from e-bike. As you can tell, I definitely love pink. And so that's pretty much it for my KWA M9. Now, as for my main is Leonidas. He is my KWA CQR. There's nothing normal, really, or stock about him. And yes, I did name him after Leonidas from 300. He was the first airsoft rifle I ever bought. I also bought him off of my friend, the same friend, Ruben. I got him for about $150, and I've bought other airsoft guns after him, but he always ends up outperforming them or just being overall better, and so I either end up selling them or using them as backups. So like I said, I bought him for about $150, and that's actually really good, but there was immediately issues, just because, you know, he had been owned twice before, he even fielded a lot, so the main issue was feeding. The motor was also kind of weak, and it just overall the FPS was low. It was under 300, and it just wasn't shooting very far, very accurately, even when I adjusted the hop up. And I actually really hated the gun at first because of all those things, and it had a different handguard on it, and it was uncomfortable for my hand to hold, and it was really, really front heavy, and so I had a lot of trouble with it. And so at first I was just holding on to it till I could sell it and get a new one or something like that. I got it in August of 2014, and I used it till December of 2014, and I was playing at GamePod one day and the motor just died on me, and so I ended up getting it fixed and completely redone and overhauled as a Christmas present to myself that year. I took it to my tech friend Jags, who is an amazing airsoft tech and airsoft photographer. His name is Michael Jaggard. And the very first things we did was external. Now, on the gun, if you look, it actually doesn't have the KWA CQR body it was made with. It actually has a KWA SR12 body. Now, that's because Ruben liked the feel of the full metal. He didn't like the polymer, whatever it had on before, and I actually really agree with that. These are the original iron sights that it came with as well. The only things we did externally was we got it this gorgeous new handguard, which I actually really, really like. And I believe that it really helped balance it out. It's an APS key mount system. And then I also got it this gorgeous crane stock. Just because the stock it had before was too small to have a battery inside, and so the battery was taped to the outside whenever I would play, and it would get really hot up against my neck, and I was always afraid that it would get shot and explode or something horrible like that, and so I ended up getting this so that I could keep it safely inside the gun, because it is, of course, an AEG. Internally, we changed a lot between the problems and the things that were going to go out and the things that just could have been used upgrading. First, I got a maple leaf bucking to help with that feeding problem. Also, the gun was already Dean's when I got it, so I did not have to do that, but yes, the gun is Dean's. In case you don't know, though, most people do convert to Deans to minimize the resistance between the connection of the battery and the gun so that more power goes straight to the motor. I find that Dean's batteries are a little harder to find than Tamiya. There's not as much of a selection, but I could just be looking in the wrong places. I also replaced the motor with a Matrix Super Torque because that is what went out originally. It was a motor. And then the gears and the bearings are, however, KWA stock, but my tech shimmed them down with graphite grease. And then the cylinder is a Ribbed Angel Custom. The head is a Lonex aluminum, and it has a Matrix aluminum nozzle with an O-ring. The piston is a KWA stock, but the head was cracked at the same time that we got the motor went out, and so we had to replace that with a Matrix aluminum one. It has a 1/8 sorbo plaid that's glued to the cylinder, and that's just to dampen the impact. That's reducing gearbox stress and making an overall better system. Other than that, I also changed out the inner barrel for a Type bore Lonex 6.03, and I got it a new 120 spring. After all that work was done all at the same time, it shot really well. That was all done in about January 2015, and I had no problems with it till January 2016. He was shooting really good. Everything was fine. The only problem that happened was when I was at GamePod, I was using him on semi-auto Sunday, and when I went to fire at the beginning of the third round, all of a sudden he went off and shot full auto and went all crazy, and it just stopped. And so I took him back to Jags, and Jags had a look, and he explained that the problem was in the trigger contacts. The spring that makes the moving part go back was broken, and one of the trigger contacts itself was broken and burned off. And so at that point I had to get Leo a gate MOSFET. Jags advised getting a MOSFET because it prevents trigger burn, and it prevents and protects the gun from 11-1 lipos. At the same time, I also switched out the spring for the same exact kind, but a new one, because I had slowly been seeing a decline in his FPS from 385 to 350, and I didn't really like that. Currently, though, he's shooting at about 385 with .2s, even though I personally use .25s. And he shoots clear across the field at GamePod and 4-door at all the fields I play at, very accurately, so I'm really happy. I only use KWA mags because he's always been very picky with that. And I also have never used any other sights other than my iron sights. A lot of my friends make fun of me and call it a carry handle, but I like it, and I'm not going to spend a bunch of money on really, really expensive sights, especially when I'm playing in so many different kinds of fields. Other than that, he's pretty stock. I use a single point sling, and he is red tagged, as you can see here. I also have a really pretty Voodoo pink gun rifle case that I carry him in case you were wondering about that. And I'm pretty sure that that's it for Leonidas and my KWA M9. Keep an eye out for my future episodes coming out in the next couple weeks. I am going to be reviewing some new guns that some of you might not have seen or heard of, just comparing between different platforms. I'm going to be doing lots of things, including shooting tests, all that kind of stuff. So I'll see you next time.